Saturday night in Nashville, and we welcome you to Vanderbilt Stadium. The Commodores on senior night, a planned blackout, but there's a lot of blue in the stands. Kentucky's in town. The Wildcats looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Vandy looking for its first SEC win in more than 2 years. Anish Shroff, Mike Golick Jr., Taylor McGregor down on the sideline. Kentucky won the toss. They defer, so Vandy will receive. Kentucky last week lost to Tennessee, put up 40-plus points, 99 plays, 600-plus yards of offense, but they were outscored. Vanderbilt coming off a bye week, 2-7, 0-5 in league play under first-year head coach Clark Lee. Chance Poor to kick it away. James Ziegler back deep for the Doors. And let's check in with Taylor McGregor.
Hey, Anish, spoke with Clark Lee moments ago. He told me Ken Seals will be the starting quarterback this evening. Now, just to refresh everybody's memory, he was a starting quarterback out of fall camp, but has not played since week 6. He's been dealing with a right hand injury. Mike Wright had stepped into his spot, and you could see right here today if they need explosive plays. But for the most part, they're going to let Seals ride. They feel like with him healthy, he gives them the best chance to win this game. Also want to know running backs Rocco Griffin, who did not play 2 weeks ago against Missouri, is available today. They will just limit his carries.
Rocco Griffin will not start. Patrick Smith, the true freshman, gets the start at running back. And on first down, Seals to throw, going to the far side. And it's brought in by Amir Abdur-Rahman. A gain of 3. Taylor talked about both quarterbacks we could see, Seals and Mike Wright, 2 different skill sets.
Yeah, Ken Seals is going to operate this passing attack much more on time. And based on what we've seen, give Kentucky's defense trouble in these last 3 games. Ken Seals and that air attack going to be paramount for Vanderbilt today.
On the ground, and there is Patrick Smith. True freshman from Atlantic City, where the sand turns to gold. It'll bring up third down. 2 weeks ago against Missouri, without Rocco Griffin, without Ray Davis, who's been out for the year, and that injury happened early in the season. Smith got his first career start, played well, 95 yards, a career high.
Great lateral quickness. They can use him as a threat, as a pass catcher out of the backfield here. I thought it was an outstanding showing for a guy playing his first meaningful football at this level.
Third down. Kentucky rushes forward with a twist. Seals moves the pocket, has an open receiver. It's Pierce running laterally and then picks up the first down. A gain of 12 for the 5th-year senior out of Smithfield, Virginia.
And Chris Pierce in this wide receiver room here. And you see Pierce, big body, do an outstanding job of staying available to his quarterback, finding the holes in the zone. Anish, that timing between wide receivers and quarterback, the biggest hurdle that's had to be overcome by this offense here. 2 different guys, 2 different arms, 2 different deliveries, all got to adjust by that room.
And a flag before the snap.
Ball start. Off number 86. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Tight end Ben Bresnahan. 1 change on the Vanderbilt offensive line. Delphin Xavier Castillo, a true freshman, will make his 2nd career start in place of Ben Cox, who's still not back from injury.
Castillo, big kid, 6'5", 330-pound freshman, and looked like a freshman in his first action, but you can see what they're excited about. Gets low, can dig guys out of the spot, and that's what they're going to need up against this big blue defense.
Vandy statistically the worst offense in the SEC. They'll check down. Here's Smith, and he is brought down in space by J.J. Weaver. This is a Kentucky defense that is thin up front. Marquand McCall expected back today. His snaps, though, will be limited if he plays. He's not in there right now. Octavius Oxendine out for the season, so those are 2 D linemen. And then Jordan Wright, who plays that stand-up jack position, he's still out, so J.J. Weaver getting the start in his stead.
And they said Wright, the most experienced and versatile piece they have on that defense, a huge blow and a big role to be filled.
Cam Johnson, the motion man, 2nd down. And it's through the hands of Johnson, who's coming off a 2-touchdown game against Mizzou. Vanderbilt offensively last in the SEC in scoring offense, total offense, and passing offense.
And Anish, that's why I'm curious. We know Ken Seals getting the start tonight, but Mike Wright has been a part of this offense for the last 3 games. Their 4 longest passing plays and 2 longest running plays have come in those last 3 because of that dynamic aspect he brings to the position.
3rd and 16. Johnson again in motion. A 3-man rush. Here's the screen to Smith. And he has run out of bounds. It'll bring up 4th down, and Harrison Smith will come on to punt it away for his SEC leading 60th time. To put that into context, he entered the week with 17 more punts than any other SEC punter.
It's a lot like having a defensive back be your team leader in tackles. It's usually not a great sign.
Not great, Bob.
Not great.
Josh Ali will return the punt for Kentucky. Line drive kick. Ali fair catch at the 15-yard line. A 43-yard kick. Kentucky last time out got a career performance from quarterback Will Levis. 5 total touchdowns, 372 through the air, 400-plus yards of total offense.
We know Kentucky fans were bummed out by the loss, but for this offense, it felt like an aha moment when you brought Liam Cohn, the offensive coordinator, over. This was a big move for Mark Stoops this offseason to try and have this offense take the next step to be more of a time and space offense like we've seen around the SEC now in modern college football.
On 1st down, the give is to Chris Rodriguez, who in 2 previous games against Vanderbilt has been a wrecking ball. 100-plus yards and 2 TDs in each of those games against the Doors.
3rd in school history in yards per carry with 6.5 yards. That is a guy, I mean, does not ever go backwards here. And as an offensive line, and we know they are known for that big blue wall in front, it's the perfect running back complement to a big physical line in front of him.
2nd down from the 19. Rodriguez again. And powers his way for a 1st down for Kentucky. You get the sense, given Vandy's issues defensively, the Commodores better against the pass. They've got 11 interceptions. They're probably in for a heavy dose of number 24.
Kentucky has got to get those kind of gains on 1st and 2nd down, because the one thing we're going to see tonight, the last thing you want to see from a Clark Lee coach team is 3rd and long, because that defense will bust out some galaxy brain pressures.
Back to Rodriguez, gets the right side, broken tackle, and Amtrak's a couple of doors up across the 35, a gain of 11. He runs like he's got adamantium in his bones.
How about the stiff arm on the end of this play? Follows the puller in front of him and then gets a little added juice on that one. That time, Anthony Orji, the linebacker, and a quality linebacker for Vanderbilt, getting shown the turf.
3 plays, 3 handoffs to C-Rod, 21 yards. Ali motions. 2 tight end set. Mike Golick Jr.'s eyes lighting up.
Baby.
Wan'Dale Robinson across the 45, close to another 1st down. Robinson coming into this game tied with Mississippi State's Mekhi Polk for the SEC lead in catches. Polk added onto that ledger. State already played Auburn today. They had 13 catches last time out, moving up in the leaderboard for all-time single-season receptions at Kentucky. Really
outpacing everyone in production in this receiver room. He's a one-man wrecking crew, but does a lot and has a lot of interesting ways they can get him the ball in this offense.
New running back, Cavassier Smoke. Levis off play action. Wide open Robinson. And into Vandy territory, another big gain. That's a gain of 18, almost 20. And this Vandy defense has given up 43 completions of 20 or more yards this season.
And you see what you've got to respect there, the top end speed, but the quickness to get in and out of those cuts from Robinson. Guy who spent some time playing running back, the Nebraska transfer when he was out there. Led the Cornhuskers in receptions last year, but that quickness really hard to defend with that kind of space.
And we get a flag.
One of the more satisfying feelings in the world.
Defense, contact, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
One of the more satisfying feelings in the world, Anish, that helmet tap when the D lineman jumps right into the neutral zone there. You saw it from Luke Fortner, the center, number 79, the vet. Devin Lee, the freshman on the other side here, so a real rookie in the vet moment.
And we're going to see a little bit of lead today. Davion Davis, who's in there for Vandy now on the D-line, number 9, a little banged up. Cavassier Smoke got a yard. It brings up 2nd and 4.
This is a great time now. We've seen a lot of Kentucky under center on this drive. And one of the big advantages of being under center, Anish, is on these play action shots. Quarterback gets to turn his back entirely to the defense. You get a great ball fake to try and buy up the eyes of the linebackers and safety. It's a great area of the field to try and get another deep shot to Wan'Dale Robinson, who you've got lined up in the slot now in the bottom of the formation.
Rodriguez back in at running back. There is Wan'Dale Robinson. No, goes to the outside, and Josh Ali. They move Robinson around. It keeps the defense on your toes. That looked to be going to him, but it's Ali who was the top receiver for Kentucky a season ago.
And Ali, we know, got bona fide track speed, a great returner for them. Moves different. Saw him down on the field in warm-ups. That is a dynamic athlete. But you're exactly right about Wan'Dale Robinson. That's the part of the challenge for Liam Cohen, is how many different places can we put him to make getting the ball to our known target easier.
Kentucky in the red zone this season, 18 trips, 13 touchdowns, 3 field goals. There's Rodriguez running downhill inside the 15, a gain of 4. Kentucky still has not had a 3rd down on this drive. What a scene in Lubbock. Texas Tech over Iowa State on a 62-yard field goal. Anish Roth, Mike Golick Jr., Taylor McGregor, Kentucky and Vandy. Vanderbilt had a possession, did not score, punted it away. Kentucky on the move, now to the 5-yard line, a drive that started back at the Kentucky 15. And this is a Wildcat offense that a week ago against Tennessee, even though they lost, 99 plays, 600-plus yards, 40-plus points, picking up where they left off.
And last week, it picked up and left off right here. 5 red zone possessions against Tennessee, 5 touchdowns. Looking to get started with that same tempo tonight.
2 tight ends, 1st and goal. Chris Rodriguez, nope, play action. Wan'Dale Robinson holds on for a touchdown. The Nebraska transfer has been a flat-out star for Kentucky, and he hauls in the first score of the game.
And you saw that little stutter there. Goes across the formation like he's going to go in there and dig guys out. He's a good blocker for them at wide receiver, and so you get cells like that, changes the tempo, and when that guy puts his foot in the ground, that burst is sudden and effective.
10 plays, 85 yards. So much emphasis in the offseason for Kentucky was on making this offense more dynamic. Under Mark Stoops, they've done it with defense. They've had a running game an explosive, dynamic passing game, that last component, they really felt last week, even in the loss to Tennessee, it was a eureka moment that this offense may have woken up, and that could pay dividends, not just the rest of this season, but into next year as well.
Liam Cohen said to us last week, we did a good job of throwing the ball when we wanted to. And one of those areas, down in the red zone, Wan'Dale Robinson for the score. Kentucky takes an early 7-0 lead.
Looking for its first SEC win in a couple of seasons. Kentucky is looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. We mentioned it before we went to break. This is a Kentucky team that started 6-0. They were number 11 in the AP poll. They've lost 3 in a row. But if they win out, which is very doable, they can get to 10 wins, which has only been done 3 previous times in school history.
And doing it a very different way. That's much more about where they're going in the future than where they are now.
Now let's check in with Taylor McGregor down on the field.
Ken Seals is starting quarterback for Vanderbilt here this evening after not starting in a game since week 6. He's been dealing with a right hand injury, but Clark Lee believes that if he's healthy, he gives this team the best chance to win. And he was the guy who won this job at a fall camp, so they're going to ride with him. They really want to get him into a rhythm, but he said we could use Mike Wright, the guy who had been QB1 the last couple of weeks, if we need an explosive play, something to keep your eyes on. Also, running back Rocco Griffin back this week. He will be available, but they're going to limit his carries.
So far, we have yet to see Griffin. Patrick Smith, the true freshman, got the start. He gets the call and barely gets out of the backfield at 2nd and 9. Josh Paschal getting in there, the all-everything D-lineman for Kentucky. We mentioned, if you didn't join us prior to when we were joined on ESPN2, Kentucky defensively, a little banged up front. That was an issue in the loss to Tennessee, but they have Paschal.
They've got Paschal, who has been huge for this defense. Heavy hands and a relentless motor. When we talk to Brad White, their defensive coordinator, they can't say enough things about what he's meant to that room overall.
The only 3-time captain in program history. Seals to throw and able to complete. It is Amir Abdul-Rahman. 2 catches so far to double his season total, and Vanderbilt picks up a first down.
And they're going to go with a little tempo, something that Kentucky's team saw plenty of last week against Tennessee.
Now, if you're going to go tempo, you have to have discipline up front, and Vanderbilt jumped.
False start. Offense number 54. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Now, what's the challenge on the offensive line with the tight ends when you're trying to go tempo?
Well, the challenge up front is to get set to be able to, especially if it's not something you normally do, identify the defense and be able to know what you're doing. I didn't like running tempo as an offensive lineman because I like to clear picture, because I like to know who I was working in combination with on my line. That's a lot tougher in these spots.
Marquand McCall back in there for Kentucky after missing the last 4 games. Some reinforcements on that defensive front. He may be limited today. They're going to see how much he can give them. Big-time running room for Patrick Smith, who picks up 10 and a first down close to midfield. Jalen Geiger getting the start for Terrell Agent today at strong safety, making the tackle. We mentioned defensively for Kentucky, McCall had been out. You get him back in a limited role, most likely J.J. Weaver, starting in place of Jordan Wright, who's still out.
All these guys got to pull the rope a little tighter. That time Weaver gets out of his gap, springs a big run, got to lock back in.
Octavius Oxendine on that D-line out for the season. Up the middle. Tackled by Justin Rogers after a gain of 2.
I tell you what, Justin Rogers, as they've been rotating guys through in the middle of that defense, he pops on tape, not only doing a great job, that traditional 3-4 nose guard of getting stuck on 2 blockers, eating up guys so they can't get clean shots at the linebacker, but like we just saw on that play, does a phenomenal job of shedding blocks and getting color into the hole to make that running back put his feet in the ground and go east and west.
Chris Pierce motions out, 2nd down. Seals downfield looking for his running back. Incomplete. In coverage, DeAndre Square. And it's 3rd down now for Vandy. And
this is where the effect of Ken Seals being back is really felt. with Mike Wright on offense, this had been a guy who had been much more draw territory for them. But the last 3 games, only 27% on third down.
Seals, 5 out of 7 so far. Vandy needs the Kentucky 42. Kentucky off the edge. It's caught. Abdur-Rahman. Like a bowling ball inside the 35-yard line to the 33. A gain of 17. And Vandy within striking distance. Now you're in 4-down territory.
Abdur-Rahman came into tonight with 2 receptions for 9 yards on the season. And already with 3 catches for well over that tonight. And a big target on a contested catch there.
We have not seen Will Shepherd, Vanderbilt's top wide receiver today. Little RPO, Pierce ambushed after a pickup of a yard. Impact players brought to you by Chick-fil-A. What are we looking at, Junior?
Yeah, the playmaking that we're looking for in Vandy, going to start with the quarterback, but then Chris Pierce in that wide receiver room. I thought he did a great job against zone coverage against Tennessee. And then we mentioned Josh Pascal on the other side. And Yusuf Corker, who they talked about, one of the more underrated players in the SEC. Brad White, their defensive coordinator, called him their eraser, cleaning up the mistakes.
Devin Body motions out into the slot. Pressure coming from up the middle. Seals trying to get away. He can't. Dropped by Rogers. First sack of the season for the sophomore out of Michigan.
Anish, the beauty of this kind of pressure is you show a lot of guys, it ends up only being 4. They drop an end out. You get it, what's a simulated pressure. Get different bodies coming from different areas. We saw this a lot from Dave Aranda in that Baylor upset of Oklahoma earlier today. Something he's well known for, to give that offensive line a lot of eye candy with only committing a few guys to the rush.
It's a Vandy offensive line that has struggled, no doubt. And now backed up at their own 41. And a timeout called by Seals.
Timeout.
Is this senior night for Vandy, or is this a Kentucky home game? Because it sure sounds like a Kentucky home game.
Experience in the country.
From Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, it's college football on ESPN, presented by Sonos. It's the SEC on ESPN, and Veterans Day coverage here on ESPN is brought to you by USAA. A planned blackout at Vanderbilt Stadium. Senior night for Vandy, yet what a big Blue Nation contingent filling a lot of these seats tonight.
Nashville's a fun road spot to come in. That's what Clark Lee and this home team are trying to sell future Vanderbilt recruits, but you can hear Big Blue Nation.
Yep, 3rd and 18, feeling like a road game here for Vandy. 3-man rush. Seals gets rid of it. He's got his tight end, Bresnahan, but he's going to be short of the marker. They get it to the 30. It's 4th down, about 7 to go, and we'll see the kick team come on. Joe Bulovas has hit 2 game-winning field goals in Vandy's 2 wins against Colorado State and UConn.
Owns a 53-yarder on the season, so plenty of leg. Try and get Vandy on the board to start the night off.
Bulovas 10 of 15 on the season. He's made his last 7 at home, and this one is good. So the Doors on the board with 44 seconds to go in this opening quarter. And Kentucky will get the ball back for a second time, up 7-3. It's been a chutes and ladders type of season for Kentucky. You talk about the start. Kentucky wins its first 6 games. Then they go and play Georgia, currently the #1 team in the country. Lose to Georgia. That was the catalyst for a 3-game losing streak. They were ranked as high as number 11 going into that Georgia game, and here they are trying to get off the schneid. But when you look at the remaining schedule, A game tonight you should win. You should beat New Mexico State next week. At Louisville, FPI gives Louisville a slight edge. I don't know about that. I would favor Kentucky. And if you win your bowl game, you're looking at a 10-win season for just the 4th time in school history. And Mark Stoops would be just this first Kentucky coach to win 10 games twice in his Wildcat tenure.
Yeah, when you look at Mark Stoops and his place in Kentucky football history, the name he's really only trailing is Bear Bryant. That's what he's meant on this program. That's the impact that he's been able to have. It's been a gradual build here that's really paid off in the last couple of years.
He should pass Bear Bryant at some point next season. And for Kentucky, hopefully that's early for the school's wins record as Zach Johnson takes it out across the 25. Hey, next Saturday, high stakes in the Big Ten. Michigan State, Ohio State from the shoe in Columbus. We start to light a fire under those playoff rankings. This is a elimination game.
100%. The Big Ten East down the stretch is going to be a Royal Rumble. Michigan survives a scare earlier today. And for all the wailing and gnashing of teeth about what's gone on with the committee's rankings, ultimately they're going to get to decide it on the field, which is the right thing.
Some of that is fair game. You rank Michigan ahead of Michigan State, what, 11 days after that game was played on the field and the Spartans won? Now the criticism's valid as DeMarcus Harris makes the catch, his 7th reception of the season. A gain of 10. Second drive for Kentucky. The first one, they go 10 plays, 85 yards, never once got to 3rd down.
And that's key. And for this defense, for Jesse Minter, for Clark Lee, they usually like to save the exotics until 3rd down. I think we're going to have to see more of that in 1st and 2nd to try and disrupt.
Levis 5 of 5. Floats it downfield for Robinson, who adjusts and makes the catch. Wan'Dale Robinson to the 22, a gain of 39.
Just a great job by Will Levis airing this out. But look at the adjustment, puts it away from him. And to turn back around, we talked about the quickness, the concentration. And again, good job by Levis putting that ball away from the defender. Knows he's got plenty of space and trusts Wan'Dale.
Kentucky picking up where it left off offensively from a week ago. Robinson, 4 catches, 72 yards in the first quarter. It's Veterans Week on ESPN. We salute all of our veterans serving at home and abroad. Kentucky on the move, 1st and 10 in Vandy territory. Levis, perfect so far, going deep. The catch is made. A flag is down. It's a touchdown. Izayah Cummings brought it in. That might be the football equivalent of and one.
The former wide receiver turned tight end, pass catching ability been on display. 2 touchdown grabs.
Pass interference, defense number 13. That penalty is declined. The play is a touchdown.
He had a career game against Tennessee, 4 catches, 75 yards. You mentioned the touchdowns.
And here is the ability they like. The playmaker, they've got a deep tight end room here, but a lot of different skill sets, and they believe he's got a chance to be a really dynamic weapon for them in the middle of the field as a receiver. And you saw there the basketball box out on the back end of this throw, being able to shield the ball from the defender with his body. Great control and a great throw from Will Levis again.
Levis, a perfect 7 of 7, 2 touchdowns today. Accounted for 5 in the loss to Tennessee. Ruffalo's PAT good. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for Kentucky, and a couple of fantastic grabs by Kentucky receivers on that drive.
Yeah, John Calipari would like this one here. Going up, high point, getting after it on the box out. And again, right in the back of the end zone here. This is a Vanderbilt secondary that comes into this one, taking the football away. 11 interceptions on the season. The back end of that defense has been potent at times, but
they've also given up now 25 passing touchdowns, most in the SEC. So there's that.
There's a lot of give and take right now. Listen, for Vanderbilt on defense, Anish, in year one for Clark Lea, you're looking for the positives wherever you can get them. And that was something that Clark talked to us about, saying as a head coach, I have to learn to celebrate some of these victories along the way, some of these moments here in the midst of what's been a disappointing season for them on the field. There's no doubt, but it's learning to find those of the way that you build to the program he wants this to be.
When he took this job, he talked about a 10-year plan. And the coaching shelf life for a lot of coaches this year, or in these days, is 3-4 years, sometimes max, sometimes less than that. But he's a Vandy alum. He's a Nashville native. He has a vision for success here. I think there is some skepticism based on history here, certainly within the fan base. But Clark Lea taking a business approach to it. He was talking about strategy and structure and all the business leadership books that he was reading to get this thing going. This is just year one and what should be a long process. Kick off your Week 10 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern with the Countdown Crew on ESPN and the app. And then on Monday, it is Monday Night Football. Stafford and the Rams against Deebo Samuel and the 49ers at 8 p.m. Now that seems like a good way to ride down Broadway, huh?
Take you for a ride on my big green tractor, Anish.
Yeah, there's Clark Lea, first-year head coach, came over from Notre Dame where he was the defensive coordinator. Patrick Smith gets the call, and he is to the 25. Taylor? We'll get back down to Taylor in a moment. Clark Lea talking to us about how there's been a much-needed leadership reset at Vanderbilt, too. New chancellor, new athletic director, new head coach. The vision and the investment, more importantly of all three, seems to be aligned.
Having people who went to school here, who understand Vandy and all the things that are unique about this program, as we see the catch there by Amir Abdur-Rahman. Again on this play, that matters. One of three schools in the Power 5 with their athletic director and their head coach, both alums. As we've got a player down on a knee right now.
Wan'Dale Robinson, that hybrid Sam linebacker, nickelback for Kentucky. Yeah, to your point, he talked in year one, finding marginal gains. Say, we need to have an entrepreneurial startup spirit. Year one almost coming to a close, but he's hoping to lay the foundation for the years to come. We mentioned the new leadership at Vanderbilt, new AD, new chancellor, new head coach, all hired really within 6 months of each other, and all aligned in a vision to get Vanderbilt and its football program back on track. As Patrick Smith gets the call, and he's got a first down. It's a third down conversion for Vandy. There's also going to be a real investment in facilities.
Yeah, Vandy United, and when we talked to Clark about this, you could see everyone around here excited about this. Massive facilities upgrade. They're going to break ground and start the build on the football side of this production here, and you saw the renderings of the stadium get tweeted out the other day. That's the kind of stuff that not only invigorates the fan base, Anish, but sends a message to the players, to the recruits. This is what we're building.
Seals intercepted, and this is going to be a pick six for Jalen Geiger. Render that, I guess.
Yeah, while we're still in this stadium here, this is going to be an issue. And you see just the disrupted timing right there on the route. Jacquez Jones disrupts the receiver that's supposed to be coming across in that spot, and Ken Seals is throwing it to an area, not accounting for that, and well, it ends up going to the wrong team.
First career pick for Geiger, just the fourth interception of the season for Kentucky. They came into this game with just 5 takeaways all season, minus 12 in turnover margin. A season ago, Kentucky led the SEC in interceptions. Extra point is good. And it's 21-3 here in Nashville.
Pick 6 for Geiger, gets back on the...
Caliendo's the best. 21-3 Kentucky after a defensive touchdown. So Vandy will get the ball back. Second quarter, 13:09 to go. And Ishraff, Mike Golick Jr., Taylor McGregor on the sideline. Chance Poore to send it away to Ziegler. If you're just joining us, it's escalated quickly in Nashville. Kentucky on its opening drive. Levis to Wan'Dale Robinson. And then Levis to DeMarcus Harris, or rather Izayah Cummings. And then a pick 6 by Geiger. Vandy has managed a field goal. 21-3. The Wildcats looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Vandy has lost 18 straight SEC games. Their last conference victory came more than 2 years ago. Ken Seals in at quarterback today after missing the last 3 with an injury, and Ziegler ran into a roadblock. It's Yusuf Corker, the strong safety with the tackle, a pickup of just about a couple of yards.
Brad White, their defensive coordinator, called him the eraser. You can see why with a hit like that. Just a great fill on this play. You're going to see 29 in White coming from out of the picture here. And that's the idea, Anish. He's the kind of guy you turn on the tape and you see wide open holes. And then a split second later, he's a blur of white. And all of a sudden, you're second down and 9.
Aptly named for a guy who just plugged a hole. Here's the blitz. Incomplete. Pressure coming from DeAndre Square. And a third down for Vandy. Been a rude welcome back for Seals, who missed time with a finger injury on his throwing hand and seemed to be wincing after that play.
Yeah, you mentioned pressure, Anish, but again, it's really not. They end up rushing 4. You drop these guys out, and you change the picture, create a free rusher in the middle of that line, and get a free shot on the quarterback.
So as a former offensive lineman, what do you need to be aware of when Kentucky does that?
You got to be aware of who's in your count. You've got to have eye discipline in those situations, and you've got to be able to redirect. If my guy drops, I've got to hammer back inside and push my guys off to try and get some guys freed up.
Pressure again from the middle. This one complete. And body taken down at the 30-yard line. Kentucky went back to that same formula defensively.
They did, and it's been highly successful for them. They've dictated the terms to start this game. And as we see Ken Seals having a difficult time moving around right now, Anish, I think at some point we're going to have to see Vanderbilt trot Mike Wright out here again at quarterback. The offense was more explosive in the last 3 games. It is not an indictment of Seals, but more about what this offense may need right now to help out and get defenses off balance.
Harrison Smith to punt it away. Shanks this one out of bounds near midfield. And it's going to be marked out at the 44-yard line of Vandy. Just a 14-yard punt. That, in effect, is a turnover. Thank you, Allstate. They added 4 yards onto the punt, so it's an 18-yard punt. Kentucky still takes over in plus territory. And on first down, it's Chris Rodriguez, the armor-plated running back, second in the SEC in rushing, picks up 7. As we go down to Taylor.
Will Levis, after the Mississippi State game in which he threw 3 picks, kind of went back to the drawing board a little bit. Watched video when he felt like he was playing really well, and what he noticed between the good and the bad was his footwork. And so something he's really concentrated on these past 2 weeks is not being too fast with the football, because that's when he feels like his footwork gets off and his timing gets disrupted, and that's when things don't go well. It seems like it's helped a little bit here this evening.
He is 7 out of 7, 118 yards, 2 TDs. Feeding Rodriguez again, flag down. Rodriguez Amtrak's his way through the defense and gets down to the 11-yard line, but there is a flag back at the 41. And Levis is saying it's going to be against Vandy, motioning upfield.
personal foul, hands to face, defense number 99. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
So you tack on a few more to a 30-yard run. It is fun to watch Chris Rodriguez run.
He really is your offensive lineman's favorite running back there. Money through contact, keeps the legs turning. It's the second stiff arm that we've seen from him today. And now you see Vanderbilt caught substituting right now. Kentucky up near the line of scrimmage here. They got to be careful, or this is going to be easy for them to pop one as they try and get settled.
Here's Rodriguez breaking a tackle, and he's in. 6th rushing touchdown of the season for Chris Rodriguez, who's now just 8 yards away from the 1,000-yard mark for the season.
Just the 10th player in Kentucky history to top 2,000 career yards already. And this is just him, again, being a battering ram. You see some of the split backfield action that's going to take care of the eyes of some of the guys on the second level, but every drive, every rush, Anish, has blockers up front for enough hats on defense. Then we always say the running back's got to block a guy on his own. You can count on Rodriguez to not only block him, but to finish him.
The PAT good, and this is turning into a blowout. 28-3 Kentucky after the touchdown by Chris Rodriguez. Let's check in with the studio. 28-3 here. Kentucky has scored on all 3 of its drives. They've had a defensive touchdown, and here we are with 10:43 to go in the second quarter. We have yet to see Kentucky face a 3rd down when on offense.
It's been a dominant performance from them, and we talked about against Tennessee, it felt like a bit of a eureka moment offensively. Defensively, we know lots of big plays given up that you want to clean up, but offensively, the execution has started to look like what Liam Cohn believes this unit can be.
Kentucky averaging 12 yards per play. Fair catch made by Ziegler. Drive recap is brought to you by Mazda.
And this one was all Rodriguez on this last drive here. And you see the finish there by Kennard. The line matches the back in every which way. This is a nasty physical group up front. That offensive line, mid-season Joe Moore Award, honor roll members for what they've done. But that great run by Chris Rodriguez, the difference all drive.
The big blue wall, the Kentucky O-line, the legacy of the late beloved O-line coach John Schlarman, as Patrick Smith picks up just a yard. Pascal the stop. A year ago yesterday, Schlarman passed away, lost his fight with cancer, and last year, Kentucky's first game just a few days after Schlarman's death was against Vanderbilt. We talked to Mark Stoops about that. What do you remember? He said, not much. It was all a blur, so many emotions. You're caught up in something else that the game and its surroundings felt secondary to he, his staff, and his team.
That presence was felt there. That was the game. They left an open spot at the left guard position that John had played when he was at Kentucky. He was a 4-year starter at that spot. They had Landon Young wearing the number 65, his number, to honor him. And that's been something, Anish, that they've had still, his presence felt in this room. Liam Cohen, their offensive coordinator, when we talked to him, said when he got into this room, we had to reset the culture in some rooms around here, try and do things a different way. That offensive line room was not one of them. They understand the standard that was set by John in that room. And I have a feeling they still hear that voice in the back of their heads when they go to work every day.
Yeah, that's the pillar of the program. First down catch by Abdur Rahman. 5 catches today. Pressure coming, and the sack by Pascal. Now this offensive front for Vanderbilt has had no answer for Kentucky's defensive front.
No, there's been white helmets in the backfield in the gaps all day. And you can see right here, this is a designed rollout. You're trying to take the D-line out of this one, but this time Pascal just plays up underneath that. And listen, as an offensive line, you want to get beat behind on a design rollout there, but you can't get beat clean like that, so he gets a free shot upfield.
And it's been 4-man pressures, 3-man pressures. Kentucky has not had to bring a blitzer. Fingers pointing toward that Vanderbilt front. And another penalty on the Commodores, their 5th.
Offense number 7, 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
It's Cam Johnson. We still have yet to see Will Shepard, Vandy's top wide receiver. No word on why he's not playing.
And an unfortunate absence for them. We've already seen Amir Abdur-Rahman step up big, make some big contested catches in this place, but backed up 2nd and 21. We've seen them with long down and distance like this. If you're already behind talent-wise, you can't subvert yourself with pre-snap penalties.
Smith, the freshman from Atlantic City, picks up 8. They like him going forward. 42 in black. Cheeks, his nickname, came into this game averaging 4.4 yards after contact.
And you saw in that last play right there, too, also can make it seem like you're trying to tackle smoke right there. Put the moves on DeAndre Square on the other side. And now 3rd and long here. Listen, you're 4-down territory from here on out the way this game is going. Screens and draws in play right now.
Kentucky bringing forward, delayed pressure. Seals scrambling, bounces it to Bresnahan. And they'll call on Harrison Smith to punt for the 3rd time.
It's difficult to get in any rhythm when you're constantly under siege. Like you said, when Kentucky can win the numbers game by making it seem like they're bringing pressure and it only being 4 guys up front, there's nowhere for Seals to fit this in.
After an 18-yard punt last time, Ali chased back inside his own 20. Turns upfield. Ali's got the 35 and tumbles across the 40-yard line. 2 Vanderbilt players are down, 1 at the 20, 1 at the 30. A 24-yard return on a 48-yard punt. That looks like Davian Davis. He was questionable coming into the game, one of their better D linemen.
They talked about having leaders at every level, and he is that leader for the front 4.
6 passes defended this season as a D lineman.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block. 13, number 7, 15 yards, 1st down.
Vito Tisdale flagged for Kentucky. The Wildcats backed up. They still attend to Davis. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. 94th meeting between Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Last year when they played, it was November 14th, just a few days after Kentucky lost its beloved offensive line coach John Schlarman to cancer. Mike, you mentioned this earlier. That was that first play for Kentucky. They take a delay of game. Landon Jones wearing Schlarman's number 65. They left an open spot at left guard. Vandy graciously declining the penalty.
It was a powerful moment. I can remember watching that, and I promise you there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And for the guys in this unit who saw the way that he battled every day, who didn't miss a game during his treatments during that 2 years, barely missed a practice. He was a warrior for them during that battle, just the same way he was when he was an offensive lineman at the school that he loved so much. And that legacy that he leaves behind, the imprint that he left on not only these young men, but on this room, the standard that he set for them is palpable. And it is something that matters to a lot of people around here, because John mattered to a lot of people around that Kentucky program.
Levis off play action with a wide open receiver across the middle of the field. It's Ali. A gain of 23. Another first down for Kentucky. They still have not faced a third down in this game.
And now you're starting to see on that play, they're using all the attention to Wan'Dale Robinson to open things up for Josh Ali and these other receivers.
Rodriguez, over 1,000 yards rushing on the season as we go down to Taylor.
Anish Golek, I thought John Schlarman's legacy was best said by people who are new to the Kentucky program this year and never knew him. Guys like Will Levis, because they came in and they felt the legacy. Levis said when he walked into that O-line room, he said, I felt something different. He said those guys are so tough, they never quit, and that is a testament to John Schlarman. And so yes, there are several players who knew him, but also those who didn't, and his legacy is carried on by all of them.
Yeah, no doubt. Levis coming over from Penn State, a graduate transfer. On the reverse, Wan'Dale Robinson gets a block from his quarterback. Robinson still going, cuts it across, and slices a jagged path all the way to the 11-yard line. Remember what the coaches told us about Will Levis. He likes to get hit. He likes the contact. Sometimes that awakens him, and now he's throwing blocks for Robinson.
The fact that he started perfect on the night, and this might be the thing that awakens him, the block on the edge. He's a tough guy. We've seen him eating bananas on TikTok. And
with a peel on.
With the peel on, chugging coffee with mayonnaise in it. He's a tough guy playing quarterback. But the best part is now he's learning to play quarterback really well these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, building on a career game last week. Levis throws one up into the end zone, incomplete. Wanted Rashawn Lewis, that's the son of Hall of Famer Ray Lewis. And that's the first incompletion for Levis.
Great coverage on that play by Allen George. Managed to get in between them. And this is kind of the first moment. It's been all moving constantly down the field for Kentucky. Got a chance to reset, get some lighter bodies on the field now. I thought we'd see multiple tight ends here, but they're going to try and spread Vanderbilt out down in this area of the field here. Could be a good chance to pop one by Rodriguez now that you've lightened the box in front of him.
Justin Rigg, the tight end, split to the top of your screen. Levis looks him off, throws back to it, Ali. And Kentucky, at the 4:38 mark of the second quarter, faces its first third down of the game.
And third down now in the red zone. So what do we always talk about? The windows shrink here. This is a great opportunity for Vanderbilt on defense to disguise what you're bringing. This defense does a great job, Anish, of changing the picture on a quarterback pre and post snap, showing you two high safeties, spinning it down, zone blitzing you. This could be their first real chance.
Kentucky's been one of the best teams in the country on third down. Play clock down to 7. Empty. And a timeout by Vandy.
Snap, timeout.
We posed the question
the
to Kentucky offensive coordinator Liam Cohen, why have you been so good on third downs? And a lot of times you'll get a stock answer. He said you go back to his days with the Rams. That's where he came from. His job early on in his Rams tenure was just to study third downs during the week. How the defense approached it, how the offense approached it, and they would come up with ideas, they would come up with schemes. It's something that was heavily invested, and he's brought that to Kentucky, and they're top 5 nationally in third down conversions.
And you can see, because he understands the tools that he wants to use to help his quarterback. You'll watch them motion guys in that jet motion that you see the Rams run all the time. They'll use Rodriguez, Cavassier Smoke at running back as a chess piece, motion him out of the backfield, motion him back in to try and show the quarterback, all right, this is the coverage you've got. We know where our man beaters and zone beaters are in these respective route combinations, and then allow him to execute with a much clearer vision.
51% on third downs. Second in the SEC behind only Alabama. Jaton McClain is the running back. Levis. Robinson. They'll set up the tunnel screen, and Vandy gets there. A lot of black jerseys flying in. Allen George got there first. It's 4th down, and the kicking team will come on.
I was a little curious why Kentucky decided to abandon the run once they got out here in the early downs. I mean, I know you want to continue to work on and build this passing game, and the red zone's a key area for that, but your bread and butter is still built up front. That was another thing Cohen mentioned about his time with the Rams. That's the misconception about that offense. It's built on a physical mentality up front and establishing that. That's why he thought it married so well with this Kentucky group.
Ruffalo in his career, perfect inside 30. And he keeps it that way. A 25-yarder gives Kentucky a 31-3 lead. The Wildcats have scored on every possession, Kevin.
Combination.
NC State played Kentucky in the Gator Bowl last year. That is a stout defense going up against a Wake offense, which has put up video game numbers this season.
It's been an absolute buzzsaw. We've seen the output. The defensive side of the ball certainly lags a bit behind, but that's been a potent unit for Dave Clawson. One of the most fun to watch in the ACC.
(31-3), Kentucky on top, 24 points just in this second quarter. A lot of blue on a night that was a planned blackout. Senior night for Vandy. Final home game of the season for the Doors. Ziegler caught it. Did he wait for the fair catch? They say yes, he did. Had he not, it would have been inside the 5. Tuesday, the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break it all down. We'll hear from Gary Barta, the committee chair. What did you make of Barta's reasoning for putting Michigan ahead of Michigan State this past week?
Gary Barta has the unenviable task of having to speak for a room full of people whose opinions he may not even agree with in that spot, but it was logically inconsistent.
Another penalty on Vandy.
False start, offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. It remains 1st down.
We'll hear from you in the second half. You've got a very creative top 7 that you've put together.
Well, I remember it all too well, Anish.
That's one.
It's going to be a beauty. What's not a beauty is the amount of pre-snap penalties for Vanderbilt so far in this game. When you've struggled to maintain any kind of offense, you've been in some messed up down in the distances. 1st and 15 adding to that.
Patrick Smith picks up 3, 2nd down and long. Rocco Griffin, who had been Vandy's starting running back after Ray Davis went down, we were told was available today. We have yet to see him, so it has been Smith getting the bulk of the carries.
And Smith's been the best part of this offense so far, being able to make things happen. There's just no consistent rhythm in the passing game right now. And again, as was the problem when Seals was at quarterback earlier in the season, there have been no explosive plays for this team.
Seals last year set the Vandy freshman record for pass yards. A 3-man rush by Kentucky. They get home with Pascal. And Seals is down. He's taking hits tonight. We've alluded to it a few times now as it looks like Mike Wright is going to come into the game.
And watching the right side here, Anish, this is supposed to be quick game. The ball's supposed to come out quick. The right tackle cuts for that reason. And now all of a sudden you get Seals scanning to the backside. That wasn't what the blocking scheme up front was built to account for.
We get a timeout with 3:01, and if you're Vandy, the way this game has unfolded, and now Seals takes another hit. It's his first game coming back from injury. You see Wright, who started the last 3, warming up. Even if Seals is okay, Do you go and make a quarterback change?
I think so. I think the only effective part of your offense so far tonight has been the rushing attack, and that's the area where Wright can not only add, but add an explosive element here. Now that the defense has honed in on Patrick Smith at running back here, he can give you an element in the area that's been your only strength so far.
Well, Seals will come back out on the field and clearly look to be hobbling just a bit. 3rd and 19. Kentucky with movement up front. Again, a 3-man rush. Vandy sets up the screen. Johnson got close to the original line of scrimmage. 4th down. Vandy will have to punt. Kentucky's got 2 timeouts if it wants to stop the clock.
This is going to be a great opportunity for Kentucky on the other side of this to work on something that they've all admitted was probably the thing their offense doesn't do as well, the 2-minute drill here. They wanted to emphasize that more. They believe they haven't practiced that enough. Great opportunity for some live reps coming up for the Wildcats.
Point of emphasis for Liam Cohen this week. A bouncer. Ali fields it and tackled inside the 40. Kevin.
8-ish coming up on the DirecTV Stream halftime report. We'll show you how the nation's #1 Georgia responded after trailing for the first time all season. Plus, game day was in the house this morning. We'll check in on the Texas A&M Ole Miss showdown in the Grove. And what now in the Big 12 after Oklahoma was knocked from the ranks of the unbeaten? All coming up when you join Sam Acho and me at the half. Anish?
All right, thank you, Kevin. We look forward to that. 2-minute drill now for Kentucky. Levis to Ali. Stiff arm out of bounds. Kentucky has scored on every drive, and let's see if they've made some improvements here in that 2-minute offense like you talked about, like we talked about with Liam Cohen.
Yeah, it's about timing and trust between quarterbacks and receivers. The play that sticks out in my mind goes all the way back to Mississippi State. They're driving before the half. It's a red zone opportunity, and the receiver gets knocked off his path, and Levis throws it to a spot for an interception here. That's where it's got to be better. Not only anticipation, but understanding the timing of the routes for everyone involved.
Rodriguez motions out. Levis under pressure, and down he goes.
And you see right here, this is a prime example of something they talked about. You have a shot called. Not every shot called needs to be a shot taken. That would have been a great spot for Will Levis to get that ball out of bounds here, stop the clock, and not take a sack, and now have all this time drain off the clock.
Malik Langham with the sack, 2nd and long. Levis going downfield, near the sideline, incomplete. Harris was out of bounds. Only need to get 1 foot in college. Let's see if they take another look at that.
This one clearly live action seemed to be out of bounds. I think you're going to see his right foot land first out of bounds after the catch.
And that right foot does land first. That left foot comes up. Close.
See the look from the pylon cam. And it was close, but right as it got there, that left foot up. Was surprised they didn't use the timeout earlier after the sack of Niche, but now you've got 3rd and a mile, and you're going to burn one.
Prior to the expiration of the play clock.
Now some of that
Kentucky
may have to do with the score presently, 31-3. Kentucky has been in control of the game. They also received to get the ball to start the 3rd.
It is true, but at the same time, this is one of those spots where, as a coach, you got to remind guys, nameless gray faces, we're operating by our standard here. This is an opportunity for us to go out and try and attempt to run this 2-minute drill the way we know we've got to do it better. These are the best practice reps you're going to get are live in a game in this situation, regardless of what the score is. And so to not execute top to bottom, that to me was the disappointing part.
Now Kentucky offensively has scored on every drive. Started with Wan'Dale Robinson. Izayah Cummings coming off a career game gets in on the action. And then Chris Rodriguez, 90 yards rushing in the first half, over 1,000 for the season. 3rd and 19 now for Levis. 3 receivers to the near side. Rodriguez in the backfield. We'll call a draw. Levis, he can move across midfield. It sets up 4th down, 47 seconds and ticking. Kentucky down to 1 timeout. A look to the sideline, and if you want to run your 2-minute offense here, why not, right?
Why not? But why not spend the timeout here, especially if you're going to substitute personnel right now? I know you're plus 50, but just get a chance to collect yourself. They've wasted way too much time.
And huddling up, too. Now, with the score being what it is, there just may not be the urgency. And maybe a ploy to get Vandy off sides. That's what it appears to be. Play clock down to 1. And now Kentucky uses its final timeout. 7 seconds to go. And I know some Vandy fans may be having a flashback to the end of half against Missouri when, remember, Vanderbilt tried a fake field goal. It didn't work. Missouri got the ball back, and it was about this distance. Tigers throw up a Hail Mary in the end zone that was caught for a touchdown.
They were there. They remember it all too well, Anish. That last sequence for Kentucky, for me, I think top to bottom, coaching and player-wise there. Poor use of timeouts in those situations. Yeah. Will Levis taking the sack there, inexcusable. And then to not know your plan of attack right there, substituting. And I guess from there, you're trying to take it all the way down. They're content to take this into the half, like you said, getting the ball on the other side. But it just didn't seem like there was a clear plan of execution there while they had resources available to them.
Wan'Dale Robinson is the slot receiver closest to the edge at the bottom of your screen. Levis will throw this into the end zone. Looking long, it's intercepted by Vandy. And how about Chris Pierce, the wide receiver? Playing, I wouldn't call it center field. He was playing behind the wall, comes up with the interception. And that's how the first half ends. 12th pick of the season for Vandy. Only South Carolina and Alabama had more entering the week. To the studio, and Kevin. Bill, Kentucky 31, Vanderbilt 3, senior night for the Commodores. A lot of Big Blue Nation making the trip from Lexington to Music City for this one. At times, it's felt like a Kentucky home game. And Ishroff, Mike Golick Jr., Taylor McGregor down on the sideline. Kentucky wanted to build offensive momentum off of last week. Even though they lost to Tennessee, offensively a lot to like. It's carried over into tonight.
Yeah, the last 6 quarters for this Kentucky offense are what they want to project going forward into what they think this can be. When Mark Stoops made this a point of emphasis with hiring Liam Cohen this offseason, this is what he had in mind. It started with the quarterback, but we know the offensive line, Rodriguez at running back, they have really been the hammer for them tonight.
Kentucky scored on its first 4 offensive possessions. They also had a pick 6. And we check in with Taylor.
Guys, at halftime, I asked about Ken Steels if Vanderbilt's going to make a quarterback change, and he said, we're only making a change if Ken Steels is not able to go. During the halftime break, he did come wobbling back onto the field, kind of favoring that left leg, and so watch out for him and what he's able to do right here. Now, I did ask about Will Sheppard, and he said he is not playing here today because he was dealing with the flu during practice this week, and Amir Abdur-Rahman got a majority of the snaps, and that's why we've seen him.
Sheppard is Vandy's top wide receiver. Kentucky with the ball to begin. Levis off play action, and it's dropped by Cummings. He had a first half touchdown. We have a flag down.
There is no foul for holding on the play. The restriction was away from the ball. 2nd down.
This is a big challenge for Kentucky coming out of the halftime locker room. Big time score. You didn't execute well in the 2-minute drive at the end of the first half here. These are the little moments, the little challenges along the way. Again, if you're trying to build something, these are the areas you need a mature team and a mature quarterback at the helm.
Kentucky started 6-0, enters tonight on a 3-game losing streak. There's Chris Rodriguez. He continues his ownership of Vanderbilt, picks up 5, up to 95 yards on 11 carries. The last 2 years, he's gone nuts against this Commodore team. 100+ yards in both games, 2 touchdowns in each of those games.
Chris Rodriguez has done more damage to Nashville than bachelorette parties, Anish. He is an absolute menace and must be stopped. I saw him out taking pictures by the winged wall earlier.
I saw you out on Broadway last night, out taking pictures. You saw people doing some damage, I hear.
You could say that. That's the kind way to put it. Everyone mix in a water every now and then.
On 3rd down, the pass is caught by Cummings. He's going to get enough for the first down right at the 35. Will Levis, the Penn State transfer, 11 of 16. 161 yards, 2 touchdowns through the pick at the end of the first half. 5 total touchdowns last week when he threw for 372. Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot. There is Rodriguez running through that Commodore D again. A flag is down back at the 39. 17 if it stands.
Holding, offense number 79. 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
And we take a look back at Chris Rodriguez and his career against Vandy. And it's been big plays, certainly. But you look at the story of tonight, it's not just breakaway runs for him. It's been that ability to finish, to run through, and to play with great power here. He gets through contact in the middle of that line, who does a lot of different things schematically, some zone stuff, power, counter, adept at all of it.
Now look at the numbers in the 2 previous games. 28 for 278. That's almost 10 yards per carry. Cavassier smoking there, and Levis's throw sails.
Anish, he's averaged a touchdown almost every 16 rushing attempts here. Been wildly productive throughout his career here. A great embodiment of what they've always been grounded on, even as they develop into more of a downfield passing offense. He's the bedrock.
Jaton McClain, the second-year freshman, is the new running back. Levis to Josh Ali. The catch, the turn. And more flags at the end of the play after a gain of 6.
Pass interference, offense number 1. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Tried to get that little rub in there. And we saw it the last time we mentioned, throwing that ball out right past Ali here. And just really, that timing just messed up for Wan'Dale Robinson, because what you're used to on that spot, and quite honestly, a bit of a weak call, all things considered, but what you're used to is that almost being like an extended run on that play. You throw it out to the sideline. Wan'Dale Robinson's used to turning up with that timing and being able to get a block and turn it into that.
So the question becomes, how do you do that and not get caught? Because that's what they're teaching these wide receivers.
It's all about timing on that. That's the ball, the quarterback getting it out on time for your receivers the way he's practiced.
A 2nd and 31. And that's McClain taking a page out of the Chris Rodriguez playbook and back to the original line of scrimmage. His teammates on the sideline love it. A gain of 22, the longest run of the season for McClain.
The fun thing about well-coached teams, Anish, is you see the backups mimic a lot of what the starters put on tape here. Because you see it's a consistent message. Everyone's getting it. The guys in leadership positions in those rooms distributing that, and there's a physical style of play that's expected in that running back room.
McClain, a former 4-star recruit, stays in there. 3rd down, 8 to go. Kentucky needs the 45. The blitz. Sideline throw off the hands of Ali. It'll bring up 4th down. Allen George in coverage. George, a 5th-year senior, went viral when he proposed to his cheerleader, then girlfriend, now wife, Caitlin Richardson, back in August of 2020. Got a pep talk from all his boys in the locker room. Went out there during picture day, right at the stadium, and got down on one knee and popped the question.
Watching the other guys on his team, because having a player with the maturity and the wherewithal to actually pop the question while he's in school is not common in a college football locker room. Watching his teammates react was priceless.
Colin Goodfellow's punt taken by Cam Johnson, who is tackled shy of the 30. We'll see if it's Seals or if it's Mike Wright to take the first snap at quarterback for Vandy when we come back. Pretty good. That's in the 100 meters, 10.87, and he's now at quarterback. They'll hand it off on 1st down. No gain for Patrick Smith as we check in with Taylor.
Speaking with Mike Wright this week, he was telling me the biggest challenge alternating quarterbacks is just the difference in communication and the cadence in their voices. So the way he says set hut is different than Ken Seals, and so we've seen a lot of pre-snap penalties. Guys, I wonder if it's going to get better because they've been used to Mike Wright at QB1 the past couple of weeks.
It's such a great point, Taylor. That's the thing in the offseason, college or NFL. Being in pro offseason training camps, you spend a lot of time getting that specific verbiage from each quarterback so you can take advantage of the snap count.
Speed option. He gives it up to Smith. Tackled from behind by the Ole Miss transfer, Jaquez Jones. 3rd down coming up. We saw Wright against Missouri, a game where Vandy was close to winning until that 4th quarter. He had a run of 69 and 70 in that game.
Their 4 longest passing plays and 2 longest rushing plays of the season came in the games where he was the starter. And this is just as much about what he's been able to do in the passing game that'll set up right here. The ability for a potential draw. Those kinds of things that get a defense a little off balance when they've been used to teeing off.
Body in motion on 3rd down. Wright throws. If it's a catch, it's a 1st down, and it is a catch. Vandy will move the chains. A gain of 9. Pierce the reception. And look at Wright saying, let's go fast.
And look at Kentucky saying, not so
player
much.
Down back near midfield, and that is Jalen Geiger, who had the pick 6 earlier.
Taking a look at the catch again. Looked like he got underneath that one just in time. Chris Pierce, again, a big target for you to go, so a great spot to look at on 3rd down. As we see, looks like could be a cramp in this spot. Taking a look at that, which
Geiger got the start today in place of Tyrell Agin. Had his first career interception that he ran back for a touchdown. A young man who lived in Korea from ages 5 to 9. South Korea.
And good to see him getting up off his own power now, walking a little slow as they were trying to get him some electrolytes there. I never moved fast enough to really have to worry about cramping. Those are little guy problems. As Mark Schlereth once famously said, linemen don't have hamstrings, you have a ham cord. And you don't have to worry about that thing malfunctioning.
It's just one large muscle.
That's all it is. Goes straight from your low back down through there. Just pure grade A beef.
1st and 10 Vandy now from the 39-yard line. 11 carries, 40 yards for the true freshman Patrick Smith. He's had the bulk of the carries today. Smith running left side, gets the edge, accelerates upfield, still going, and shoved out of bounds across the 30, marked down at the 24-yard line. 34 more for Smith.
it changes the equation for this rushing attack, not only with the tempo that they're going a little bit here, as now they're going to elect to huddle up here and collect themselves, but just watch on these read option plays now. The backside defensive end, the backside linebacker on this play have to hold for a second because Mike Wright is now a legitimate threat to carry the football and not just do that, beat you for a long run.
Right to throw. Dangerous pass in traffic, and it's brought in by Amir Abdur-Rahman. 6 catches, 57 yards today for Abdur-Rahman. 2 catches for 9 yards all season entering the game.
He's really stepped up in place of Will Shepard, who, as Taylor told us before, down for this game, had been dealing with some sickness this week.
The first down run for Smith, he got just enough. Patrick Smith close to 80 yards on the ground. First red zone possession for Vandy.
And this is the area we saw that speed option already before. As the windows condense, this is a great spot to try and buy extra numbers, get to the perimeter, and stress the edges with the athlete you've got at quarterback.
Kentucky did spend the week preparing for both quarterbacks. There's the speed option again. He gave it up too early to Smith. And that's where Mike Wright has to improve. We were watching film this week. Sometimes he makes that decision too quickly. There was a play in the Missouri game where he actually used the fake pitch to get the defense to bite.
That's all about stressing the defender here. You've really got to get up close to try and get them to commit, to try and get them to bite. Anish, I think that's true with the RPO reads that he's got, with his zone reads. He's talented enough to make plays, but at times he's still not seeing the picture the right way as it's designed.
On second down, Wright rolls that way. And you look at the Jets as he goes out of bounds, and we'll get a late hit on Kentucky. Vito Tisdale got him right as he was going out of bounds.
Clear as, I mean, it wasn't much of a shove, I will say. Seems like a bit of a reach on that call, seeing it on the replay now. Looking at it live, we thought it might have been something, but that was barely a bump. I don't know how you throw that flag. You see
Tisdale to the bench. Wright has given this offense a spark.
Over, personal foul, number 7 of the defense. Half a distance to the goal. First down.
You listen to the acoustics here. Where are we?
I tell you, there is a lot of blue in this crowd, and they've made their presence felt. Down here, we always talked about that cadence Taylor referenced before. It's a little different when it's now all of a sudden that noise for your offense here. And listen, there's no reason to touch him that far out of bounds, but we're really
that was it, right? Quarterbacks are protected. You know how it goes.
This feels like the taunting call. It's starting to get on my nerves.
First and goal now from the 6-yard line. 2 tight ends into the game. Play clock winding down. Smith up the middle. Got a yard, second and goal. Jones the stop.
There really is just a different uptick in energy. Looking at that rollout on that penalty, that was the same design play before, where we saw a defender able to come up and under and tackle Ken Seals, because he couldn't capture that edge in the same way. And especially down here now for the defense. Backside's got to respect Mike Wright.
Schoenwald in motion. Wright looking for 6, end zone incomplete. Abdur-Rahman could not hold on. It's 3rd and goal. Undoubtedly 4-down territory given the score. What do you draw up?
In this spot, I wouldn't be afraid, because again, this is 4-down territory. You're in it from here on out here. I'd spread him out, call draw on this one. Or even better yet, give him a true drop back, which is not Mike Wright's strength, but it gives your very mobile quarterback the option to take off and run with a lot of space around him.
Both tight ends in there. Right. Changing directions. And tracked down. The ball came out. It'll stay with Vandy. It's going to be 4th down. A loss of a yard. Wan'Dale Robinson getting to the speedy freshman. Second-year freshman in Mike Wright.
And you see Vandy on offense staying out here on 4th down. Tried it that last play, going to get Gavin Schoenwald off the field here. More wide receiver bodies on the field, but I think you could go back to that same bunch idea. Patrick Smith's been such a weapon for you out of the backfield. Try and see if you can get some space cleared from these wide receivers.
Vandy 9 of 15 this season on 4th downs. Opponents just 1 of 6 on 4th downs against Kentucky. And a timeout is called.
Yeah, there's an issue with the play clock, I think, on that last one. Trying to get that reset. Was down at zeros. Should have gotten pumped back to the 25.
Kentucky rushes 4. Right on the move. Back of the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Chris Pierce has an interception and a touchdown to his name today. It's Vandy's first touchdown of the game. And Mike Wright leading Vanderbilt downfield. 12-play, 72-yard drive. Commodores will go for 2.
Incredible high point by Pierce on what's just a scramble drill. And that's the other difference, Anish. With Wright at quarterback, you know the play's never over. If you're a receiver, you've got to get your eyes back out. You've got to get back towards the ball and make a play the way they did there.
Do you understand going for 2 here?
At this point, listen, you need all the points you're going to get here. I don't know what helps you math-wise all that much, but
Wright throwing for Cam Johnson, and he gets in. So Vandy gets the 2-point conversion, 31-11. Still a 3-score game. Can't start a fire without a spark. Mike Wright, little catalyst for Vandy. Number 93 is Tommy Smith, a 32-year-old walk-on tight end who is still an active Navy officer. It is Veterans Week, and Taylor McGregor caught up with Tommy Smith yesterday.
32-year-old Tommy Smith, naval officer, MBA student, and a football player here at Vanderbilt University. And now you get to drop the anchor the same week that Veterans Day plays out across the country. What does that mean to you?
It's an honor just to be a part of this team, Team 1 with Coach Lee, but now to be able to be recognized not only by the football program but also by the university to go out and drop the anchor. I'll actually be heading out there with some of my future teammates in the Navy, some of the members of the Navy ROTC unit. So absolutely just humbling, and yeah, I'm very, very just happy to do it.
A lot.
32-year-old walk-on tight end who began his career at Notre Dame. More on Tommy Smith in just a moment. Taylor had one more question for Tommy Smith that pertains to our booth analyst, Mike Golick Jr.
You grew up in Connecticut, went to high school there. Any words for Mike Golick Jr., fellow Notre Dame football player, and you both grew up in Connecticut?
Mike, of course I'm going to say go Irish to you, but the last thing I have to say to you is go East, beat Northwest.
Yes!
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
That was perfect.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So
So after this play,
yeah, I love it.
Levis on the run. So explain your history now with Tommy Smith and the background for that reference.
So Tommy Smith and I were teammates back when we were both at Notre Dame wearing gold helmets here. So remarkable to see what he's done. But before that, Connecticut high school football, my Northwest Catholic High School and his East Catholic High School, bitter rivals back in the day here. Him and I went at it on the high school fields, and so we've managed to keep it civil all these years later. Apparently he waited till now, just at the last minute, to finally put the knife in me.
On third down, Rodriguez picks up the first. Down to Taylor for more.
You know, one of the other questions I asked him is, why are you doing this? You've accomplished so much. You have a wife, 2 kids. And he said, you know, I've been asked that question a lot. And honestly, I didn't really know the answer. He said, but I want to be an inspiration. And a guy who was an inspiration to him was Tom Ruby, who was a Navy SEAL and played at Northwestern 5 years ago. And so I guess he was an inspiration to Tommy. And now Tommy's going to be an inspiration to somebody else.
A lieutenant commander playing SEC football 11 years after walking on to Notre Dame, as Rodriguez picks up 8 more. And again, go back to what you had just said. You played with him at Notre Dame. You played against him in high school, and here you are calling the game that he's still playing in.
Calling a game he's still playing in, although the fact that he is an active Navy officer and a father, he's done a lot in that time here. I feel like I got to play catch up with Tommy right now. It really is remarkable, though, getting to see and read about his story from afar heading into this week this year. Really proud. I mean, was an awesome teammate back at Notre Dame and has really had such an impressive run since then, and will be an inspiration to a ton of people, probably a ton of guys in this locker room. When you look up and see him wanting to come back and be here as Clark Lee and this group try and assemble and build a program.
When you're doing just what you said, putting a foundation in place, what does it mean to have someone like Tommy Smith in that locker room for all the guys who are coming in to buy into a vision?
To buy into the vision, to see his maturity and the way he goes about it. You're trying to set work habits. And I was part of a coaching change. I was at Notre Dame when Brian Kelly took over. And you come in and you're establishing the way you're going to do business. That culture word that gets thrown around, it's just what are our accepted habits? And with a guy with that level of maturity, as we see Will Levis push forward for the run on the first down, having that kind of maturity and the way you know he's going to approach this, someone who's been doing this with the U.S. military, it gives you an example in the locker room, because that's where true leadership's got to start. It's coaches deliver message to players, and then the leaders on your team have to disseminate that amongst the rooms.
Tommy Smith, former walk-on safety at Notre Dame, was enrolled in the ROTC program there. McClain. Now tonight he's looked like Rodriguez light. And I use the word lightly.
Yeah, there was nothing light about that. That was a heavy finish. Rodriguez got more of the gallop, but McClain's clearly been studying that and laying the hammer down on there. Great blocking from the group up front, too. They've been prying great holes for them open all night. A lot of great zone blocking schemes from there. That time, 68, the left guard, Kenneth Horsey, getting up there and digging his man out.
Yeah, no Eli Cox on that offensive line, likely done for the season for Kentucky. Levis to the outside of the numbers, and it's Ali with another catch. Give him 11. 4 catches, 59 yards for Josh Ali.
And Anish, worth noting, that was the same play that Wan'Dale Robinson got called for pass interference on before.
He got away with it, right?
He adjusted his timing. He can get away with it. Offensive players would never cheat.
There is Wan'Dale Robinson in a rare drop. 5 catches in this game for Robinson. He needs 3 more to retie Mississippi State's Mekhi Polk for the SEC lead in receptions. They came in tied today. Polk had 8 receptions in the Bulldogs' comeback against Auburn. As a defense, that's the one guy for Kentucky you have to account for. He'll move around, and now he's lined up on the outside. Sometimes he's in the slot. They'll work him in on fly sweeps. Back to the ground, back to McClain, big hole, and powers down to the 15-yard line. A gain of 15.
We talked about the zone blocking. That time you get everyone running with the zones, and so you slip a counter run back in there. You pull two big offensive linemen. You define the hole for your running back, McClain. And now you set up down in the red zone. We saw them try and move the pocket with Will Levis before. I think that's an area where he does really well as a passer. He's such a great athlete. He squares his hips to the line of scrimmage. Maybe try and get him on the move towards this play side.
McClain with more rushing yards tonight than he did in Kentucky's first 9 games. Picks up 3.
The last time we saw Kentucky down in the red zone, they went lighter on the personnel group. They tried to spread it out and have Will Levis throw a couple of fades towards the end zone. As they're going to let this thing go down to the end of the quarter.
The fourth quarter will begin with Kentucky inside the Vanderbilt 13-yard line, up by 20. They've hammered it on the ground on this drive. 11 plays, 62 yards. Levis and the Wildcats will look to finish it with 6 when we come back. 31-11 Kentucky. The Wildcats 15 minutes away from ending a 3-game losing streak and getting back in the win column. Fourth quarter here in Nashville. Kentucky with the ball, 2nd down. And McClain is dropped in the backfield by Elijah McAllister. It'll bring up 3rd down. A loss of 3 on the play.
So this is yet another red zone struggle for Kentucky. And listen, we know it's a 20-point game right now, but Vandy got a spark with Mike Wright last time on offense here. You want to put your foot down on the gas right now.
Kentucky scored on its first 4 possessions of the game. They did not score in that 3rd quarter.
Let's keep an eye on 84 Izayah Cummings. Was a big target for them last time in the red zone when they were successful.
He's got a touchdown today. Levis steps up. He's going to have to run. And dropped at the 15-yard line. He got the 3 back that they lost. And it's 4th down. Here comes the kick team. So that's a hold by this Vandy defense. One of the things that you brought up, Vanderbilt on 3rd down is hard to prep for. They do a lot of exotic things on 3rd downs. Early in the game, Kentucky didn't have any 3rd downs. They were just driving the ball down the field, getting what they needed on 1st and 2nd. Now, a few more of those 3rd downs have popped up here in the 2nd half and late in that 2nd quarter.
And in the red zone in a lot of instances where we've seen them get to cut that package loose.
Ruffalo from 32. And his kick is good. 3 more for Kentucky. 2nd field goal of the day for Ruffalo. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. And we remind you, Taco Bell welcomes you to the Live Más Student Section of the Year contest. Use hashtag Student Section Sauce to get the committee's attention and go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. Those are, I assume, water cans, right?
I've had a few of those cans in my day. Those ain't waters, Anish.
We're a family program. This week's college football playoff rankings brought to you by Goodyear. Yeah, Georgia, bit of an early scare before pulling away from Tennessee. Oregon, Wazoo tonight on ESPN. Ohio State. Now, Purdue wasn't going to catch them by surprise. They dropped 59. Did Cincinnati win with enough style points last night?
You know what they did, Anish? They won. And right now, that's all you need in the tumultuous landscape, especially on a day where we saw Baylor upset Oklahoma and likely knock them out of the race entirely now. It was an undefeated Power 5 ranked 8th. I don't think that loss is going to keep them in contention.
They're going to throw it here, and Pierce hauls it in. Mosley trying to rip it out. And Pierce takes it all the way to midfield, a gain of 25. 5th catch for Pierce, who's got a touchdown and had an interception right before halftime.
Great ball by Cam Johnson on that one. Great job holding it till late.
Corner blitz. And Carrington Valentine got there. They ran it to Smith, and Valentine timed the blitz perfectly.
They did, and we've seen Kentucky active in the backfield all night here, but now back on their heels a little bit after that last drive. You had all the Mike Wright elements of that play. Now you've thrown a reverse pass in there. Kentucky's defense didn't have to think much at all. It was see ball, hit ball going forward in the first half. Change of pace now.
2nd and 11 after a loss of a yard. On the zone read, the give is to Smith. Pascal got him. And it brings up 3rd and long and no gain.
Back-to-back plays with edge pressure right there. That's one way you can try and counter, Anish, some of the quarterback run opportunities here, is to bring pressure from the outside, take away that read, and force him to hand the ball up front so you can get those D linemen to crash.
So what's then the offensive counter to that if you want to get your quarterback on the move?
I'd throw screen the other way if you want to try and just get the teeth of that defense away here. Then you can get your quarterback back involved as a runner.
Pressure coming right on the move, throws downfield, it's caught. And it's a 1st down. Chris Pierce once again. 14 more. Mike Wright has come in. And Vandy with a little pep in its step since he's become the quarterback here in the 2nd half.
And we know he's a run threat to break one off on these scrambles, but look at him keeping his eyes downfield and that fire on the run. He's gotten more and more confident, Anish, in those 3 games that we saw him as the starter as a passer. A lot of it early on was just run-pass option looks. It was quick and simple reads. He's getting more comfortable as a drop-back passer, and this receiver unit used to having to do these extra scramble drills.
Last time out, he did throw 3 TDs against Missouri. Looked off Cam Johnson. Now he'll run. Look at the speed, and he slides down at the 31. Taylor.
So when talking with Mike Wright earlier this week, he said, my game is sort of like Tetris. If you fit in, you disappear. And he said, I don't want to fit in and disappear. So we really feel like he prides his game on doing different things. We've seen him pass and we've seen him run. But he said, I just want to be known for being able to adjust with what the defense is giving me.
That's a great example of that last play, because all that run was a fancy check down. They had set that up for a deep shot. And what do we hear on the other side? Not every shot called has to be taken. He calls his own number underneath.
It sets up a 2nd and 3. Up the middle. And a 1st down for Patrick Smith. Give him 5. Up to 84 yards for the freshman from Atlantic City.
Now to the point you made earlier, Anish, as we see Ken Seals, who got the start, taking this in from the sideline, going to have to still be eyes and ears, going to have to still be a part of this. That's the maturity of this position. You talked about it before. This is a great spot for the quarterback to call his own number on one of these designed read option plays as the defense has to start to respect the running back.
Kentucky brought the safety Corker up. Here's Corker on the safety blitz. Speed option opposite side. And Ziegler shoved out of bounds. He's got a 1st down, a gain of 11. Vandy at the 15-yard line. It's going to be interesting what Clark Lee decides to do for these final 2 games at Ole Miss and at Tennessee. Do you still run both quarterbacks out there? Do you hand the keys to Mike Wright? These days, with the transfer portal being a part of the equation, got to manage that position a little differently.
You do also have to set a foundation, though, early in your tenure, that competition and production are going to be rewarded when consistency is displayed. And that's what Mike Wright has done for this team. He's earned the right to be the guy.
He'll run again. And taken down by Square, no gain. So what would you do?
I would keep Wright going from here on out.
Make him your starter.
I think you would make him the starter because everyone can see, right, that the offense is different with him operating there. And the last thing you want to do is send a message to the locker room that you're more worried about the portal, that you're more worried about the outcomes. You want to show them we're here to play the best football that we possibly can with the guys in our huddle. And right now, Mike Wright has been the one to make that happen.
Seals last year, productive freshman season, 4 300-yard games. High snap. Wright again moving the pocket, throws it away. It'll bring up 3rd down. Now, what's going to be interesting in that decision, Seals, who returned to practice from a hand injury this week, we sort of heard behind the scenes throughout the week, hey, if he can go, or if he's close to being able to play, he's going to be the guy, which you got the impression that this is still Ken Seals' team.
It is, but I think Mike Wright and what he's done as a passer tonight, that continued development changes the equation for me. He's not just an athlete at the position.
On third down, Wright checks down to Patrick Smith. And Smith, with a little extra effort, gets inside the 10 to the 8. It'll bring up fourth down. Vandy's going to have to go for it.
And this is Chris Pierce territory. We've seen in every critical juncture, third down, red zone, it's been 19 in black for this team. I think you put him in the point of a bunch, try and again get a little bit of clutter around there, but then you know him and Mike Wright have a great understanding when the play breaks down off the drop back pass once it turns into a scramble.
Pierce lining up at the very top of the formation. Cam Johnson, the motion man.
And he knows he's got man coverage now.
A strike and a touchdown. Amir Abdur-Rahman. Far and away the best game of the season for the 6'4" senior from Atlanta. He was a productive receiver last year. Entering tonight, he only had 2 catches on the season. 7 for 65 and a score in place of Will Shepard, Vandy's top receiver, who's out with the flu.
And they've been tough contested catches like that. These haven't been gimmies. There hasn't been a ton of space around him here. He's been strong through, and once again, Vandy will go for 2. Didn't understand the decision the first time around.
I'm not sure I understand it here, because if you kick the extra point, you're down 16, it's a 2-score game. If you don't get this 2-point conversion, it's a 3-score game.
It's a reminder that these aren't all analytics-based decisions. Sometimes these are gut decisions that we can't explain.
Right backpedaling. He's got Smith in the flat, and Kentucky bottles him up. The conversion fails. It's a 3-score game with 7:33 to go in the fourth.
Mike Wright, sensational. Wheeling, dealing as a runner and as a passer. Trying to get Vanderbilt back in this game late.
34-17. Let's see if Vandy tries an onside kick. They don't. And Zach Johnson will field this and then take a knee at the 12-yard line. That's where Kentucky will begin. 7:30 to go in regulation. Wildcats looking to go to 7-3. This is the week we honor all of America's heroes. We send a heartfelt thank you to all our active military and veterans for your courage and commitment, including our operations manager, Al Killian. He's our ops producer, a U.S. Army specialist. How about that picture of handsome Al?
I mean, an absolute beauty. Al, take a bow, my friend. And obviously, thank you for your service. Thank all the men and women who have served. And like Al, have looked great doing so.
Jaton McClain on first down as we go down to Taylor McGregor.
Yeah, and to bring this all full circle, Tommy Smith's wife here, Allison, who also has served in the Navy, graduated from the Naval Academy and spent 10 years as a helicopter pilot. Allison, what has this been like for you, watching your husband as a 32-year-old dad, MBA student, play college football?
We are filled with nothing but pride watching him do this. Quite a pivot from what we've seen him do, but we know he is a wonderful teammate, whether that's on the field with his platoon that he's served with or back at home. So just a chance to see him excel at something else has been wonderful for us.
I asked him why he's doing this, and he said, I don't really have a good answer. You should probably ask my wife, Allison, that. What is your answer to why he's doing all this?
He just loves being part of a team. And I think he definitely missed that aspect, that brotherhood. And when he first got the opportunity, we kind of laughed about it. Oh, wouldn't that be funny if you're the oldest guy on the team by a decade? And then the opportunity kind of presented itself. And It's been wonderful seeing it. It's been a great example for our son, and no regrets. We have just been loving this opportunity and to experience this along with him. So.
And your daughter, MJ, right here, eventually one day you're going to be able to tell her about it. I want to ask, though, when you got to watch him drop the anchor, as a veteran yourself, how would you describe that feeling?
Very proud of him. Everything he does, he just makes us so proud. We know he's so honored to serve this country. He's being a great leader on this team, a great example for all the young men on this team. So hopefully some of them will follow in his footsteps maybe and feel that call to serve.
An inspiration to so many, yourself included on that. Anish, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, Taylor, if you were not with us earlier, Tommy Smith, wearing number 93, began his career as a walk-on safety at Notre Dame. Played with Mike Golick Jr. You played against each other in high school. 32 years old, now a walk-on tight end. Getting another degree in the Owen Graduate School of Management as part of the civilian postgraduate program. An inspirational story. It's Veterans Week, and we're glad we could shed some light. I know the story's been told, but talk to Tommy. You heard the interview with Taylor earlier. And now we get to talk to his wife, Allison. They've got 2 kids, a 2-year-old son and a daughter, MJ, who came into the world this past July.
Which is also an incredible thing. She joked about, what if you were 10 years older than all your teammates? I mean, you got guys around the locker room that are going to be able to pick his brain about what's it like being a dad, changing diapers. I want to know what he thinks of all the locker room music right now. It's got to have changed a lot since we were in college.
You know that all too well. It'll bring up 4th down. Let me ask you, what was he like when you really got to know him as a teammate at Notre Dame? I know you played against each other in high school, but what were your impressions of him when you guys were together in South Bend?
This path wasn't surprising based on that diligent worker, and I think really represented what the walk-on program is about in general here. The work that these guys do that no one sees, what they have to do just to get to that point, and then the hard work that Tommy put in as a teammate, because it's not pretty stuff, Anish. You're going through practice, you're running the scout teams. It's not all the sexy stuff with the payoff on Saturdays, but that led exactly to the man who decided he was called to serve now, and the father and the husband.
A salute to Tommy Smith, a salute to all our veterans. Thank you for your service, courage, and commitment.
This is the best song.
Let's check today's unstoppable player, brought to you by Downey. I think we know the answer. Chris Rodriguez, his 3rd 100-yard game against Vanderbilt in his career.
He's been a battering ram in this matchup. Been a battering ram for them all season. Crossed the 1,000-yard mark in this game. The perfect complement to the big blue wall.
Mike Wright scampers out of bounds. Final numbers on Rodriguez: 16 for 114, a touchdown, 12th 100-yard game of his career, 6th this season, and he also crossed the 1,000-yard threshold on the 2021 season.
2nd in the SEC, averaging 102 yards a game. He's been sensational. Runs like so much thrashing, so much power. It's really fun to watch.
On 2nd and 7, Mike Wright directing traffic and picks up a 1st down with his feet. Let's check in with Kevin in the studio.
Yeah, and each time for our AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship, we take a look at an A&M team that hadn't scored an offensive touchdown in 7 quarters till Devin A-Chain does this, Acho.
Yeah, give it to your track star, Devin A-Chain. He's got speed, and he found the end zone.
Ole Miss up 15-10 in the 4th quarter, Anish.
Who had 25 total points being scored in that game at that stage?
It's another perfectly normal Saturday in college football. Nothing to see here.
Ziegler out of bounds after the reception. If you're Vanderbilt in a season where there have been a lot more negatives than positives, 2-7, winless in the SEC, you have a head coach who talked about marginal gains, finding the small victories. The second half has been a marginal gain. The play of Mike Wright and the offense after halftime, something you can build on. They've got Ole Miss next week. They've got at Tennessee. Probably won't win an SEC game this year, but you can find things today. And Patrick Smith, the freshman running back, you have a legitimate foundational piece in the backfield. Third down throw, incomplete, too low. It'll bring up fourth down. I would assume the offense stays out there.
Yep, offense going to stay out. You've had a steady diet of drop back, and we've seen the reason you've got a chance in these situations is because Mike Wright's been so in control. You see his eyes downfield. You see him stressing the defense, trying to get receivers to move.
Wright going downfield. His receiver was locked up. It was body, and it's incomplete. Kentucky will take over. 3:12 to go in regulation. Wildcats with a 17-point lead. SEC on ESPN and Veterans Day coverage on ESPN is brought to you by USAA. 34-17, Kentucky ball, 3:12 to go. Only 3 points in the second half for the Wildcats after 31 in the opening 30 minutes. They take over at the Vanderbilt 36 following a turnover on downs by the Doors. Wan'Dale Robinson lost a yard. And now the part of the broadcast that the haters are going to hate, but here is Mike Golick Jr.'s college football top 7 playing on a recent cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah, so we've gone Mike's version on this one because the committee went kind of haywire this week, and we decided we'd pair it up with the re-release of some of the beauties from Red here. You look at Kirby Smart's Georgia, Better Man, originally written and performed by someone else when he was with Nick Saban at Bama. He's put his own twist on it, and it's sensational. All too well. The original, because with Alabama, the 10-minute version was last season. You go on and on down this list, Anish, and I think you can really see they belong with me.
I'm glad we got that in because you spent a lot of time with our graphics people coming up with this during the course of the week.
I did. They're sensational. Ohio State's a stadium banger like Red. Oregon, treacherous isn't bad, but look what it's up here with on the track list. It doesn't compare. Cincinnati, it takes everything in the committee not to call them. Michigan State, everything has changed because apparently head-to-head doesn't matter. And Michigan, come back, be here, meaning I want you ranked behind Michigan State. And you had a nice comeback win today to be here.
Let's ask our Taylor McGregor.
Golick, so happy to be on the crew with a fellow Swiftie. I gotta say that. Okay, at Alabama, number 2, I go Begin Again, right? Ooh. Because it's kind of like, here we go again. Alabama headed to the college football playoff. And in that song, she talks about James Taylor Records. I kind of liken that to a national championship trophy, if you will. I know you didn't have a number 8 on your list, but I'm going to go ahead and add Oklahoma and throw a song to cap off what we saw to them this afternoon. We are never getting back together.
Can we shake it off and be done?
Man, I tell you what. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was having a tough one running and hiding somewhere. Oklahoma may have to watch out for Taylor McGregor.
I feel like Jake's got to at least return the scarf, no?
Bring it back, Jake. You can make this all a lot easier.
Too much time was spent last night by all of us individually listening and digesting and soaking in the full 10-minute version of All Too Well.
It's a triumph. The audacity to take arguably the best song in your catalog and say, I'm going to release 5 more minutes of it, potentially threaten the legacy? No, she adds to it. Taylor Swift, no doubt, the Nick Saban of pop music. Never thought I'd get to say that on air.
Fourth down. Are you happy now? We got that in?
I feel great. I don't know if our producer, John Kettering, feels great, but I feel fantastic.
We get a timeout, 1:34 to go. 4th and 1, Kentucky. I like Taylor's add-ons, too. Taylor McGregor. No, some pretty good edits there.
Good notes. We're always trying to get better up here. Much like Taylor in the re-record, we're not just going to say, hey, we can leave it the same way. We're going to upgrade little things, different vocals, got rid of the country twang.
Oh, we're doing live?
From her youth. A growth mindset.
Listen, I'm just so happy that Golic is as much of a Swiftie as I am?
Well, Taylor, Anish Shroff has joined the ranks this fall. Week 1, we're calling a game at Maryland, and he walks up to me and he says, "My eyes have been opened." He's been on the train. He locked himself in the room to digest that whole song. Anish, I'm proud of you, brother.
I have joined the revolution. 4th down, Levis moves the chains and gets down to the 15-yard line.
One thing Will Levis is never going to do at the end of the run either is slide. That man finished that thing with authority.
Now, even with a 3-score lead with less than 90 seconds to go. Levis, by the way, his pregame jam, it is pre-2012 Justin Bieber.
Listen, I would expect nothing less from the enlightened individual eating fully unpeeled bananas and putting mayonnaise in his coffee.
Now, you educate me here. What's the difference between pre-2012 Bieber and post-2012 Bieber?
Quite honestly, not sure of the line of demarcation, other than I'd imagine a fair amount of personal growth. Bieber's early 20s were an interesting place, so we're happy everyone's doing well here, but he's made some great hits along the way.
Final 45 seconds in Nashville. Give the Kentucky fans credit. A lot of blue in the stands. It was a planned blackout originally. It was more blue at times. They were loud. They were raucous. They made it feel like a Kentucky home game for the better part of 60 minutes. After starting 6-0 and then losing 3 straight, Kentucky gets back into the win column. If they win 2 more, which is very doable, end the bowl game, Kentucky will post just its 4th 10-win season in school history. Vandy has 2 more cracks at an SEC win. Ole Miss and then Tennessee, both on the road to close the season.
And for Kentucky, this is about eyes on the future. Your position in an SEC East that is crowded and competitive right now. And for Vanderbilt, a tough loss, but you continue to lay the foundation with performances like from Mike Wright that we saw in the second half, who I think has earned the ability and earned the right to be the quarterback going forward for this team.
Kentucky can certainly use the second half of this game to get the team's attention. Not as crisp as they were in the first half, but the first 30 minutes offensively, it was a continuation of what we saw against Tennessee, where you feel that this offense is really hitting its stride and becoming the type of offense that Mark Stoops wanted when he hired Liam Cohen to be its OC.
Just a dream situation for Mark Stoops and the staff, because you get a double-digit win, you get to coach from that, but you can say to your team, look at us in the first half. This is what we can be. Look what happens starting in the 2-minute drive to end the half into the second half of the game. This is what we still have to get out of our system right now. It has to continue to be about us, and being able to correct those mistakes is what every coach looks forward to.
Down to Taylor.
Coach, how would you describe the play of your quarterback this evening?
He's playing really good football. I thought as a team we played very good complementary football in the first half. Second half we just got out of kilter again defensively, but this guy lays it on the line all day, every day, so it's easy to rally with him.
What will you take out of your defense's first half performance to help get on track next week?
Well, I mean, it's something to build on. We played better in the first half, that's for sure. You know, we need to be more consistent so we can, you know, play more aggressive offensively. You know, we got to work together, but there's some things to build on.
Thanks so much, Coach. Will, I'm going to ask you, you wanted to focus on your footwork and timing. What of that worked well for you tonight?
It's good. I think in the first half we did a good job of it, just with the timing and decision-making and accuracy of the offense. A little disappointed myself for just how I came out in the second half, just on that first drive, really, and just missed some really easy throws that I don't usually miss. But things like that are going to happen. You just got to bounce back and play the game. But at the end of the day, just glad we got the win.
Knowing that this team can still do something really special, have a 10-win season, how do you guys stay concentrated game in and game out?
It's just taking it one day at a time. We got to make sure that we come in every day at practice, getting better, focusing on the mission for that day, and just keep stacking days and letting it all pay off on the game on Saturday of that week. So it's good that we got the win here. This week's over. We're on to New Mexico State now, and I just need another good week of practice, keep stacking days, and all that stuff at the end of the season is going to take care of itself if we do that.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Anish?
So Kentucky 5-3 this season in the SEC. And what's left? New Mexico State It'll be senior day next week for the Wildcats, and then the season finale on the road against rival Louisville. Final score from Music City. Kentucky doubles up Vandy 34-17. College football scoreboard is next.